Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
News at noon. These are the top stories we're tracking. Billions in dollars bid security for Eccles, the Mandela 4-lane road sideline small contractors. Chinese manganese company causes massive flooding in Matthews Ridge. ExxonMobil slapped with another climate change lawsuit. U.S. prosecutor alleges decades of misleading fossil fuel information. Meanwhile, Brazil protests unfair practices at Latham Crossing. Uproar leads to shortage of supplies. Over 400 people's militia ranks unpaid for months, and government revokes order requiring private lands for the new Demerara River Bridge. Opts to use state property. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Hello, hi. Let me show you something lit. Get your free chats now with me. Tell them video and voice call. This rather than get, and that's not all. Cash and prices for all of us. It's exciting, it's fabulous. Translate, populate, locate, innovate, but shh. It's a secret, no need to keep it. You won't see me here again. 3, 2, 1. I'll see you in a bit. Download the app now for chat.
And now for the news in detail. The Central Housing and Planning Authority is looking for contractors to execute the construction of a brand new 4-lane highway connecting Eccles and Grey Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. But according to some in the industry, the invitation in itself sidelines small contractors from the beginning. This is since to even obtain a bid document to get the specifications required by the ministry to prepare a bid attracts a non-refundable fee of some $50,000. Additionally, interested bidders are being made to provide bid security at a minimum of $500 million, or at least 1.5% of their bid price. In some instances, bid security could be as much as $1 billion or above, or at least 1% of the bid price. At least one source said that the requirements, as outlined by the ministry, make a mockery of the procurement laws that guarantee that 20% of government contracts be handed to small contractors. In other news, Vermont's Attorney General T.J. Donovan has filed court litigation against ExxonMobil Corporation and the Shell Oil Company in the U.S. state of Vermont's court on Tuesday last, alleging the companies misled the citizens there for decades with marketing that conceals the contributions to climate change and the harmful effects of burning their fuels. The lawsuit in Vermont's Superior Court, Chittenden Civil Division, is the latest of about 24 similar ones by states and local governments from Rhode Island to Honolulu that are seeking monetary relief over claims that oil majors harmed them as they downplayed or misrepresented how the fuels they sold exacerbated the environmental risks tied to climate change. And moving on, despite more than 400 members of the Guyana People's Militia, or GPM, being deployed nationwide to provide assistance for the Ministry of Health's ongoing COVID-19 vaccination drive, the ranks, however, have not been paid since March. Nevertheless, in an effort to guarantee their concerns are voiced, several members of the GPM contacted Kaieteur to air their plight. As part of their recruitment, an agreement was inked which stated that the ranks were to be paid their salaries on a monthly basis. The agreement further stated that they were to receive a stipend for being part of the pool of trained recruits augmenting the vaccination drive efforts. Meanwhile, some of the ranks were trained to administer vaccines, while others were trained to complete documentation and any other tasks assigned to them. Additionally, the ranks report to work on a day-to-day basis from 8 hours to whenever the vaccination site stops working. And now let's tell you, the Guyana Manganese Inc., a subsidiary of the Bauxite Minerals Group, is coming under renewed pressure to address ongoing issues in relation to massive flooding caused by its activities and contamination of the domestic water supply in the mining town of Matthews Ridge. Residents have revealed that a coker in Lower Pequera, which was blocked by GMI, has broken away and has flooded the main access roads, a number of nearby farms, and has caused several residents to seek refuge in trees as they wait for the waters to recede. GMI is reported to be actively assessing the situation, but has also been allegedly restricting residents' access to the affected areas and barring them from taking pictures and capturing footage of the incident. And moving on, residents of Bonfim, a small town located in Brazil just opposite the Kaieteur River from Lethem, Guyana, have been protesting over the last 2 days against what they are calling an unfair practice by the Guyanese authorities at the Lethem-Brazil border crossing. Trucks with supplies bound for Lethem are stuck at the roadblock set up by Brazilian protesters. They have blocked the main highway leading to the Kaieteur Bridge, preventing the trucks laden with basic supplies from entering Lethem. According to the president of the Rupununi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Daniel Geji, their action is leading to the shortage of essential goods in the Region 9 town. His exact words in a Facebook post he made yesterday were, "Shortage of essential goods looms in the Rupununi as protesters block the main highway leading to the Kaieteur Bridge. Residents and businesses in Lethem depend on goods from neighboring Brazil because it is much cheaper to transport from there than Georgetown." In other news, Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Egil on Monday revoked an acquisition ordered signed in 2019 authorizing the compulsory acquisition of private lands to construct the approach roads from the new Demerara River Bridge and has opted to use state property instead. Former Minister of Public Works David Patterson, under whose administration the original order was inked, when contacted for a comment yesterday, and was asked if persons had already been compensated for the lands identified for use of the roads, reported in the negative. Patterson said that there was no need to compensate anyone because the acquisition order was not fully effected. Current Minister of Public Works Juan Egil said that the administration has decided to use state property instead to construct the approach roads, which would be located at Nandi Park, East Bank Demerara. In other news, in order to facilitate the berthing of the new $12.7 million ferry that is presently being constructed, a number of stellings will be retrofitted to accommodate the ferry. So said Minister of Public Works Juan Egil. In fact, the minister stated that the government is readying to bring a modern ferry into service, and as such, it will be upgrading several stellings. He further noted that the upgrades that will be done to the stellings are to allow roll-on, roll-off facilities at Georgetown, Mabaruma, Kamaka, Port Kaituma, and Morawana. A total of $310 million was allocated in 2021 budget for the upgrading and rehabilitation of the stellings identified, including the ones at Wakenal and Fort Island. Moreover, the new ferry that is being built will sail between Georgetown and the Northwest District and is being built by the Indian company, Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, at a cost of $12.7 million. And moving on, the Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 2 or more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. Because of this, the country's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 703. According to the ministry, the latest fatalities are those of an unvaccinated man and a fully vaccinated woman. Meanwhile, 299 new infections were recorded, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 28,831. Presently, there are 34 patients in the COVID-19 ICU, 156 persons in institutional isolation, 3,182 in home isolation, and 11 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 24,756 persons who tested positive for the virus have recovered. And at this point, we now move on to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated to being blunt. Guyanese companies and hopefuls can't even make a little money from supporting goods and services to foreign companies drilling offshore. The foreigners occupy jobs. The foreigners carry the oil. The foreigners take the cream from our milk and the milk also. The latest is captured in a Kaieteur News article headlined, "Suriname used to supply all food and beverages to offshore oil rigs. We can't even supply our own food and drink and make something. We soon could be supplied with food and drink from Suriname and elsewhere, since we don't have enough of these things here." This is local content for Guyanese. This is how they operate, the PPP government and its predecessor. They allow everybody but Guyanese to profit from our oil wealth. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.